Hello, my friends, and welcome to Karen's Stamp Pad. Today, I wanted to come on and just show you this beautiful easel card that I just created for a upcoming class that I'm putting on with a few friends of mine. So this is an easel card, and it is using the Whimsy and Wonder Suite. So let me see if I can do this justice by showing you how it works. It being upside down and on an angle. So anyway, this is, if you flip it open, you have the inside of the card where you have a sentiment and you can write your message or sign your name. And then what it does is it bends up. Goes up and kind of clicks on there and centers, so it sits up like an easel. All right, so I have pre-cut most of the items we need. Sorry, getting a little distracted by the notes on the computer. So what I've started with, let's just pull all of this in, is a piece of Blushing Bride cardstock, and it measures 8.5, or it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet of Blushing Bride, and we want to cut it at 4.25. So after we do that, we are going to score it at 5.5. So it goes over in half. And then we are going to score it again at 2.75 or 2.75. So because it doesn't always line up properly, I am going to use my bone folder and burnish it. Let's line it up first. There we go. Just off that a little bit. And then burnish that. So this is kind of how it's going to sit. So what we need next is a piece of, again, Blushing Bride cardstock that measures 4.25 by 5.5. And this is going to attach right here on the bottom. We're going to attach the bottom only. So then when it lays flat, it looks like a card. And then that pops up when we finish the card. Okay? So we could go ahead and attach that. So I'm just going to put my adhesive, and this is called tear and tape, or not tear and tape, I'm sorry, stamp and seal. Sorry. Now once you put this down, it doesn't leave an awful lot of time for you to, well, it doesn't leave any time at all for you to move your cardstock around, so you better place it right the first time. With liquid glue, you have more time for wiggle room if you don't get it straight. So, but we got that. See? All right. So the next piece that I've got is some basic white cardstock, and it is 4 inches by 5 1/4. So it's only 1/4 of an inch difference all the way around. So I wanted a little bit so I can see the blushing bride around the outside like a frame. So this is what I've done with this is I've run it through my embossing machine, and let me just show you. It's quite big and heavy, so this is why I've done it. And this is what most Stampin' Up! Demonstrators are calling the Big Boss now. So it's a cut and emboss machine. So let's just call it the Big Boss. So there's 2 of them. We've got a Big Boss and a Little Boss. And it actually folds up and can carry. Sorry for the noise, you know. But what I've done is I have an embossing folder, and we have some plates, and we just run it through and crank it, and it goes through on a wheel. So I've done that already, and I have used the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder, and I don't know if you can see the, probably not too bright. Okay, so anyway, it has a little texture to it. So what I'm going to do, my seaweed, sorry, I have an addiction to seaweed lately. So what I'm going to do is I am going to adhere this to my card base, leaving, like I said, a border around the outside. And then I have another piece of Blushing Bride, and it is 3 1/2 by 4 1/2. And then I have Designer Series paper, and it's cut at 3 1/8 by 4 3/8. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adhere this before I put it on here. Very sticky. Oh, that looks pretty good. Okay. So, and that's going to go on there. As you can see. But before I adhere it, I'm going to put together. Actually, you know what? I'm going to just put this down now. So this has a hard time sticking, and I have this silicone craft mat that gets things going. There we go. Okay. Let's just put that right there. Center it up so it looks like it has a nice frame around it. All right, then we have some Blushing Bride again, and it is 2 3/4 by 4, and a piece of basic white cardstock that is 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. And what I'm going to do is I want to, as you can see on this, because the basic white, I have a stamp on here. Everything else is glued on. I have pre-cut everything, but I have that stamp. So just in case I mess up, I want to stamp first, because if I do mess up, then I have the opportunity to cut another piece of paper and put it on. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'm using Blushing Bride ink. And I'm using the stamp that says, "Let your heart be light." So I'm just going to ink it up. And there we go. Not so shabby. So that's good. But I may as well just go ahead and decorate while I have this out. So what I've done is the designer series paper has, oh gosh, let me just grab a full bundle and show you. All right, it's absolutely gorgeous. I love this one. So there's 2 sheets of each, and it's double-sided paper. This, isn't that playful and fun? Okay, and we have this. So what I've done with some of this is I fussy cut it. And for those of you who don't know what fussy cutting is, it's just basically taking the image and cutting it out with a pair of scissors, as opposed to using a punch or dies to cut things out. You fussy cut, you just cut it out by hand. And I've cut some of those to put on the corner of my card, or corners. And here's the other side. So we've got 2 pieces of that. Now we have this, which has trees on it, and I have fussy cut out of that. Actually, what I've done is I have this suite, so I have dies that actually can cut out some of these trees, and I have used a die to cut out one of these trees to put on the card. And this is the back side of this paper. Then we have presents, and I did fussy cut the presents because there's no die for that. So I've cut out some to use for the bottom of my card and here underneath the tree. So I've cut some of those out. And look at the back side of this, and I have another card that I've made with this. And we have this, which we used here in the card with the silver foil. And this is the back side, and I have another card that I've made with this one. And you know, there's just it's just beautiful paper. So anyway, let's put that aside. So we've got that already stamped, and what I want to do is take some of these fussy cut pieces and adhere them. So, you know, you can cut out whatever you want, place them. Just whatever you think looks best. I mean, it's all a matter of preference, right? Maybe not. So, I have, on the other hand, some of these, and I think I'll just go with what I know. There we go. Okay. All right, what do you think so far? Okay, now somewhere here I have a tree. I seem to have, and that's not the one. All right, and you know I'm pretty set on the tree that I want. So, oh, well, maybe we'll just use this one. Okay. It's not the same one as the last one I used, but that's okay. So I'm just going to place this on here. So liquid glue actually makes things easier to adhere, right? So if you don't have it straight like that the first time, it gives you a little bit of time to place things where you want them. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to center this right in here so that the silver foil paper actually looks like it's framing the rest. I'm going to take this beautiful tree, which I've cut out, I'm going to place it there. All right, so far so good. Looking great. So let's open it up and put our greeting on the inside. So we take our piece that we've cut for that. And I've chosen to use a tree stamp from the stamp set. And one of the coordinating colors is mint macaron. So I'm going to use that. Let me just pull this in so I don't make a mess on my table. Ink it up. There we have it. And I want to use my Blushing Bride Stampin' Write marker just to add, there's these little, what looks like ornaments, little white dots here. So what I want to do is fill these in. And they look like the little pink ornaments. So cute. Okay. So we've got that. Now I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Blushing Bride for that. Close this one up so I don't end up making a mess. There we go. All right. So now I'm going to adhere that to the inside of the card. Use my silicone craft mat so I don't get And let's just center that on. There we go. Okay, now, so for our doorstop, I have a piece of white and a piece of Blushing Bride. Center that. All right. And now what I want to do is white centered. There we go. So now what I want to do is I want to center it on here, leaving the same distance around all three sides. Okay, and I'm going to pop it up with what we call Stampin' Up! Dimensionals. And the reason I'm doing that is just so that the card it's lifted higher, and so that the card itself can hook onto this piece. So I'm using my Take Your Pick tool. It's handy dandy and easier than picking things up with my nails. And anybody who has acrylic nails knows how difficult it is to pick things up. So let's do this. I'm going to put 6 of these on here. And then this also takes the backing off of each one, right? It's so easy. Look at that. And then you just take it off and throw it in the garbage. You can reach it. Okay, so let us center this. And I think that's great. So see, this just slides right in and catches on that, which is what we want. So the next thing we're going to do is decorate. So I showed you in the designer series paper, there was a page that had nothing but presents. So what I've done is I've cut out a few, and I have a few more in case I need them. And I am going to adhere them to my, oh, pardon me, I got the hiccups now. Oh, I think I put that one up there. I'm just going to start adhering them to the to this base right here. And a few more. Okay, I'm going to put in my mini dimensionals, and I think I'm going to prop up let's see, I don't think it all right. this one on and prop up the last one. Good. There we go. So now the only thing that I want to do is I would like to put a few presents here. There we go. So we've got that done. And the only other thing that I did on the other tree, if you notice, I used, these are sequins and they are absolutely gorgeous, but what a time I had putting them on the card with the glue and coming off. And as I look at it now, I'm still missing one. So I'm going to use the Rhinestone Basic Jewels. Now, these, the nice thing about this is if you have alcohol ink markers, you can color these. So, I'm wondering. Give me a second. Let me grab some. All right. Maybe. Okay. I don't have the markers I'm looking for, so I'm just going to use them as is. And let's put one guy up here. I did put a star on the other tree, but let's see. Come on. All right, now, question is, do we put more? One more, and he wants to be difficult. There we go. So, what do you think? Here we go. Kind of like it. It looks like Santa came to visit. All right, there you have it, my friends. Um, I'm liking it. I'm really liking it. Gotta get my seaweed out of there a bit. All right, there you go. So, a beautiful easel card using the Whimsy and Wonder suite. You actually really don't need the suite. You could do the Whimsy and Wonder uh, DSP and just fussy cut everything out for this beautiful card, and use your own sentiment, whatever one you have on hand. So there you go. If you liked my video, give me a thumbs up, give me a like. Um, Subscribe to my page. I will be coming out with future videos. I know I've just started, so but I look forward to having you back. And thanks for joining me. I had fun. Okay, bye for now.